For all your t-shirt needs, check out TeePublic's Killer Selection. Follow the link in the description. Hey, what's up, people? Pizowell here, and today I want to talk to you guys about the new Vinegar Syndrome Blu-ray release for 1987's Blood Harvest. Now, this is partially going to be a review of the movie as well as a review of this Blu-ray release. And over the years, I have had countless people recommend Blood Harvest to me, either in the comment section of videos or over on my website. People know I love a good, bad horror movie. People know that I love just bad movies in general. So Blood Harvest was one of those films that just kept getting brought up. People would say, dude, you've got to see Blood Harvest. It stars Tiny Tim, the tiptoe through the tulips Tiny Tim, as a crazed clown. So I went into Blood Harvest expecting a really bad but good bad slasher movie featuring Tiny Tim as a psychotic murderous clown. And that's not exactly what Blood Harvest is, but I do have to say Blood Harvest certainly lives up to the hype to a certain extent. Now, the plot revolves around this young woman. She returns to her hometown where her parents are missing and people are being hung up and having their throats cut like butchered animals. Tiny Tim is running around in his clown outfit, out of his mind. He's either breaking into song or just breaking down crying. If he's not just aimlessly kind of wandering around, walking into people's homes uninvited, making them cups of coffee, peeping at them through windows. This is one of those movies, I like to call these kinds of movies experience movies. It's a movie that you just kind of have to experience. Merely talking about Blood Harvest doesn't fully encompass Blood Harvest. Put it that way. Now, as a movie, it's bad. This is a really bad movie. It's poorly written. It's poorly acted. It's poorly shot. The editing is bad. The scenes crash together. There's not a whole lot going on in the movie, to be perfectly honest with you. Is it a good, bad movie? I'm still kind of on the fence about that. And its one saving grace is, of course, Tiny Tim as marvelous Merville the Clown, who, again, just wanders around it's almost like they were making a slasher movie and they said, God, we really need something to spice up this slasher movie. Let's get Tiny Tim, let's paint him up like a clown, and let's just insert some shots of him in the movie. Of him in church crying, of him at like a kitchen table crying, peeping in the windows at people, just kind of wandering around with this crazed look in his eyes. It's an experience. It's an experience. The slasher movie elements, the murder mystery elements are not done very well. There's a total of about, 5 cast members in this movie. And it's extremely obvious from the word go who the killer is in this movie. So the murder mystery aspects, there is no mystery whatsoever. It also doesn't help the fact that there's only 5 or 6 characters in the film, and the killer wears a stocking on his face, which really, stockings don't do a whole lot to, mask a person's features. So the murder mystery aspect is out the window. The slasher movie aspect are okay, I guess. There's some nice practical makeup effects in the movie. The actress who plays the lead role in the film, she spends pretty much the entire movie in various states of undress or completely undressed. The killer in the film chloroforms her not once, but twice. Strips her naked and just first he takes pictures of her, then the next time he's caressing her and rubbing her and kissing her. So there's lots and lots of nudity in this movie. But again, the saving grace for Blood Harvest here is the performance of Tiny Tim. And the performance of Tiny Tim, I think, is worth watching Blood Harvest alone. And I've got to say, he definitely, you can't say it's a bad performance from Tiny Tim, because you can tell that he's definitely giving it his all. He's really intense. But at the same time, there's just something so very, very off about that character, about that performance, about everything with the marvelous Merville character in Blood Harvest. It's a bad movie, yes. It's almost a good, I don't know, if I watched it again, it's one of those that I will definitely probably pull off the shelves in the future and watch again, and I'm sure it will go way overboard into so bad it's good territory. It's definitely bad. It's right there on the cusp of being so bad that it's good, but the performance of Tiny Tim, again, in this film is worth the price of admission alone. Yeah, it's a train wreck of a movie with an unbelievable performance from Tiny Tim. If you've not seen Blood Harvest and you'd like to see a train wreck of a slasher movie that is bad, but possibly so bad it's good, with an electrifyingly bizarre performance from Tiny Tim, definitely look into Blood Harvest. This Blu-ray from Vinegar Syndrome would be a great way to introduce yourself to the film. If you are a fan of Blood Harvest, by all means, you definitely want to look into picking up this Blu-ray from Vinegar Syndrome and adding it to your collection. First, let's take a look at the presentation. We've got a nice clear case. I really dig these clear cases. You've got some great artwork there of Tiny Tim as Marvelous Merville, the bizarre clown on the on the cover. The sleeve is reversible, and you get some alternate cover art there on the reverse of the sleeve. It's a DVD and Blu-ray pack. There is the DVD. The Blu-ray is in my Blu-ray player. We get a booklet here with an excerpt from, it's a modified version of the chapter Marvelous Mervo from the 2016 biography Eternal Troubadour, The Improbable Life of Tiny Tim by Justin A. Martell and Alana Ray McDonald, published by Jawbone Press. And it's all about Tiny Tim's performance in Blood Harvest. Now, as far as the picture quality and the sound quality on this release are concerned, we get a newly scanned and restored in 4K from its 16mm original camera negative transfer. Now, I've not seen Blood Harvest before. I have no idea how this movie looked on VHS or on any of the prior releases. I can assume that it probably did not look very good. Vinegar Syndrome does a really good job cleaning up the image here for Blood Harvest. It looks really good. There's varying levels of grain depending on what sequence you're watching. Some are a lot grainier than others, but overall Vinegar Syndrome did a really good job cleaning up this movie and making it look really good. I would give the picture quality a 3.5 to a 4 out of 5. The audio quality, I would also give at least a 3.5 to 4 out of 5. I neglected to mention the music in the film. Tiny Tim does a song in the film about Marvelous Merville, and it is epic. It is it's fantastic. It goes right along with Blood Harvest. It fits in Blood Harvest. It's like a glove. But yeah, the picture quality and the sound quality are both quite good on this release. As far as extras are concerned, first up, we get Every Critic is Gonna Butcher It. It's an interview with Tiny Tim in Niagara Falls from 1987. It's 3 minutes and 5 seconds in length. Tiny Tim discusses Blood Harvest while drinking from a 2-liter of 7-Up. He also gives out the director's phone number to the people who are interviewing him, which is kind of strange. But brief interview with I was going to say Mr. Tim. Let's just say Tiny Tim. Next up, we have a performance and a candid interview with Tiny Tim in Niagara Falls from 1987 at the Great American Circus. It's 1 hour, 11 minutes, and 22 seconds in length. Now, this is interesting. Bear with me. Tiny Tim performed several songs, including Tiptoe Through the Tulips, and then he is interviewed while sitting in a car. The audio quality isn't great, and there's a lot of background noise, so it's difficult to hear a lot of what Tiny Tim is saying. He also breaks into song several times while seated into the car and plays his ukulele. Then he gets out of the car and is interviewed standing next to one of the circus tents, and he discusses eating crackers with barbecue sauce and his love of Crest toothpaste. Then he goes back to the car, sits in the car, and discusses the circus that he's touring with. Then he gets out of the car again because a yellow jacket flies into the car, and he continues discussing the tour with the circus and the movie Blood Harvest. And all of this while drinking from a 2-liter of 7-Up. Very interesting stuff here. Next up, we have an audio commentary with producer and co-writer Leszek Brzezinski along with Joe Rubin from Vinegar Syndrome. Mr. Brzezinski discusses how he'd rewritten the character, Tiny Tim's character in the film, to be a child entertainer clown who never took off the clown makeup. And then when he went to discuss the character being a clown to Tiny Tim pulled out a clown outfit and threw the idea out there of the character being a clown before Mr. Brzezinski could bring up anything about a clown. So the two of them were having some sort of weird inception about the character in the film being a crazed clown who never takes off his clown makeup or gets out of his clown outfit. Very, very odd. Mr. Brzezinski also discusses his career in both film and television. He discusses how he got involved in the making of Blood Harvest. He discusses the director and the director's background. Unfortunately, a lot of the questions that Mr. Rubin asks him about the casting of the film, about the makeup effects, about a lot of the intricacies of the making of Blood Harvest, Mr. Brzezinski either doesn't know or doesn't remember. So there's some gaps in there, put it that way. But still, overall, a pretty nice commentary. I listened to about 30 to 35 minutes of the commentary for the film. This is a very nice Blu-ray release from Vinegar Syndrome for Blood Harvest. Again, I recommend Blood Harvest based solely on the performance of Tiny Tim. Tiny Tim's performance in this film is worth the price of admission alone. If you've not seen Blood Harvest, I recommend it. This Blu-ray would be a great way to introduce yourself to the film. If you're a fan of Blood Harvest, you definitely want to look into picking up this Blu-ray and adding it to your collection. The picture quality and the sound quality are both very good. We've got some very interesting extras on this release, to say the least. The presentation is very nice as well. Very nice overall release from the folks over at Vinegar Syndrome. If you've seen Blood Harvest, please let me know your thoughts on it down in the comments section below. If you're not following me on social media, those links are in the description. They're also right around here. As always, thanks so much for watching. I really appreciate it. Take care, and until next time, peace. Join the $1 a Month Club and help support my channel on Patreon. Thank you to my current patrons: Kevin Smythe, Orc145626, B-Movie Mike, Robert Sobel, Turi Delamore, Stephen Flanagan, Lori Holt, Mitch Odell, Farron Sutton, Craig Farrand, Jeremiah Lambert, Grindhouse Grotto, Joseph Charlesworth, Chris Earls, Derek Jana, Demon Waffles, Tim Williams, Stone Gassman, Zachary Barton, Mr. Bibby86, James Welch, Eli Geisler, Jeff Overing, Cliff Hostetter, Kyle McGuire, Jay the Stingray, Lauren Dixon, and Travis Davis. Say hello to the internet, Jeremy.
Hello to the internet.